Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coaster Report. I hope you're enjoying your evening. We haven't had too much news regarding theme parks since the announcement of Tormenta a few weeks ago, so I'd like to do something different with this time. Tonight, I'd like to talk about Six Flags Great Adventure and their upcoming edition. If you're not in the loop, no pun intended, let me get you back on track. That one was most definitely intended. Great Adventure demolished Kingda Ka back at the beginning of this year. Since then, the plot is sat vacant, and no formal announcements have been made. However, despite this, it still appears that work is progressing at the site. Why? Well, thanks to every enthusiast's dream, of course, footers. Footers are a monumental part of the early identification process for new roller coasters. Considering the entire layout revolves around them, it's no wonder that they make it easier to tell what kind of ride we're looking at here. And make it easier they did. In fact, enthusiasts almost collectively agree on what type of ride this will be. The new addition for Six Flags Great Adventure will be, drumroll please, a Mach Extreme Spinning Coaster. For those of you unfamiliar with the name, this is the same model as Time Traveler and Ride to Happiness. Now, both of those were revered to be some of the best coasters on the planet. Yet, it doesn't seem like Great Adventures is getting the same hype. Well, why? Well, it all comes down to one thing. The footers for this layout reveal not only that this is a spinning coaster, but that it's a shuttle coaster as well. So, you might be asking, what does it matter? I mean, at face value, maybe you're right. However, when you think about this addition, you realize some of the other flaws this concept has. The first of those flaws that I want to discuss is the cheapness of this new ride. You may be thinking that an enormous launch spinning coaster with a huge tower is in no way, shape, or form cheap, and you'd be right. However, when put in perspective with some of the other prospective additions that could have replaced Kingda Ka, this is nothing. There were rumors of an RMC T-Rex, B&M Giga, Intimate or Premier LSM launch. I mean, the list goes on. Even still, though, that shouldn't be enough justification for people to get as mad as they are. So that leads me to the second point, capacity. If you recall, the park's big 50th anniversary coaster was Flash Vertical Velocity, a super boomerang from Vekoma. This edition was overall exciting. I mean, beyond a few delays in opening, it was thrilling to see Six Flags working with Vekoma once again. However, there was one major complaint for this ride. Considering it was going to be a boomerang, that meant it could only run one train. For a park that hosts nearly 3 million people each year, one train operations are simply not an answer. And this is certainly rubbed off. Having gone to the park in the past year or so, the line for this ride is always ridiculous. In order to get what is still my only ride on this so far, I waited over 2 hours. But I was lucky. Usually this ride racks up over 3-hour waits. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is that people were extremely dissatisfied with the low capacity that Flash brings to the park. Having another one-train shuttle coaster, one that's even larger and more eye-candy than the other, well, that's simply insane. Yet it's what Six Flags intends to do. In terms of what they could do to prevent this issue, there's always the possibility of a turntable. The only reason they didn't do this with Flash is likely because of the space constraint there. With the humongous double plot they just opened up while removing Kingda Ka and Green Lantern, there should be absolutely no issues in terms of space. I see a high possibility for a turntable here. Of course, though, there's still so much we don't know right now, so I'll give another update when we get more news in the park. Anyways, though, in other Great Adventure news, let's talk about Nitro briefly. So, if you've been to Great Adventure this fall, you may have noticed Nitro's been down. Now, considering it's my home park, I've been there a few times this season, and I can confidently say that Nitro is experiencing an extended closure and probably won't be back up this year. Why, though? Well, it's been rumored that the lift motor blew out, but we have no actual confirmation from the park. Considering they just removed Holiday in the park, though, I don't think we'll see Nitro back up and running in 2025. Unfortunate, but that's the way it is. With that being said, that's just about all we have to talk about this week. This has been the Coaster Report. Have a great night, everyone.